once more with feeling.
Once more.
Blah, blah. You know, those are just words.
Words.
All I have to offer is words. Just words.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
What's going on, my beautiful peoples? I hope everybody's excited on this wonderful Saturday holiday weekend before the actual holidays. But I've been rocking like this whole month as holidays, because if I don't start like doing the decorations right after Thanksgiving,
We'll be doing it today.
yo, literally, it's like a week before, and then why am I gonna bother?
Yeah.
Like,
No, then you'll be in my situation.
Thanksgiving decorations still up.
it's like you're mad work, and then I'm only gonna enjoy it for like una semana. Va a ser.
No, because you keep it after New Year's, no?
You can, I
At
think
least
so.
until
At
Three
least-
Kings, at
Yeah, Three Kings, and then you take it down.
Nah, but you know what I've learned this actually in the last couple of years, but in white people world, right? They fucking, because we like to go tree cutting, and before we used to save it for like the first or second week of December, but yo, by then the pickings get super slim. There's nothing, so we need them. And so what we learned is that this year, because of global warming and lack of rain, there have been fewer trees. And so when we went to go get our tree, they were already like reserves, and they were only doing tree cutting up to December 5th.
Wow.
Yeah, and we went the day before Thanksgiving.
Yo, we went 2 days before Thanksgiving.
One day.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
went on
we
a
went
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And so that was a whole nother thing, like learning lesson. That, oh shit, this global warming shit.
That shit's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit's fucking up Christmas too, bro.
Yeah, but also mass consumerism. Like how many
That
trees
too,
get
though.
fucking
Shit,
chopped down?
come on.
I was just like, coño, aquí me quedé.
I mean, they do grow a lot of trees. Like we see a lot of baby trees, but you know, those are like another 20 years before
Before
they're
they
like
get to
this.
that, yeah.
You know?
Can't grow them fast
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are we doing here? A whole tree farm. But anyways.
Yeah, I don't know what's more sustainable too, like plastic trees, like a shit ton of
Nah,
plastic
fuck
trees,
that
or
noise.
these.
That shit lasts a long time. You see, our grandma tree been lasting since the 90s, bro.
It's
That
true.
shit since the 90s. She
Very
still puts
true.
that
Yeah.
crooked
Put it back in the pack it up, put it in a
Tree.
box.
You gotta do like fluff up the
Yeah,
branches.
like she
Yo.
throws that shit out the box.
It's like
throws that shit on. And,
If anything, what's very impressive is how that box is still holding.
with no
Same
tape.
box.
With no
That shit
tape.
is from like fucking
That's
Rite Aid,
wild.
1997.
That's when they made really good
Yes,
cardboard
yes,
back
that's
in
what I
the
was
day.
saying.
For real.
And better
It's-
products too.
It's fucking
in
amazing.
general, yeah.
She still got
Stuff
that
is way
shit strong.
cheaper
Shout out to grandma.
Yo, shout out to
For real,
Yo, my mom, bro. These lovely voices that you're hearing on deck. We got my brother, my main man, Dre Drizzle.
Yes. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Been waiting for this conversation with my man Jay. So, yeah, let's get into it.
I
man.
just want to go
Let's get
straight into it. You don't
man.
want to hit me with a new mantra for the week?
I am humbled. That's what I've been mantraing this every morning. I got a new mantra, and I'm humbled, man.
You're
I'm
humbled?
humbled. Especially with this conversation, because you know I've been through my stuff. So I am very, very humbled, man. So
Beautiful, brother, beautiful. And as always, phenomenal to have you on deck, the honorable, the lovely Lady Age.
Always a pleasure being here.
Every time I chill with you, and like we still have dates and shit, even though we're like 3 years deep, and that doesn't sound like a long time, but then when you hear other people's relationships, and they're like 6 months in, they're like, yeah, estoy cansado.
see, I've been doing pretty good.
We've been holding it down.
I've been holding it down.
And we were out on a date yesterday. Like we were supposed to go to a show, but we got so caught up in having a conversation
Yeah,
that
that's nice.
we showed up like an hour before the shit ended.
Oh wow.
But we caught Frank
good
Knight's
conversation.
performance.
Yes.
So that's what we came for.
that's
Yeah.
literally
we
what
went
we
to go
went there.
support.
Shout out to
yeah.
Frank Knight.
Shout out to my brother,
He
Frank.
killed it. He didn't
Yeah.
do a backflip.
No flips.
Yo,
No
I was so
flips.
tight.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Y'all recorded some or nothing?
He got
I got
footage.
some footage,
Alright.
but I was hoping for the flip to show on the show.
Yeah.
And
Where was the show at?
it was in fucking
Bushwick, Brooklyn, at some warehouse
I,
event
uh,
space.
yeah.
Very Bushwick.
I got all love for Brooklyn, but fuck, it's just far.
It's a troop every time.
Yeah.
We're like
know.
literally on the opposite.
Literally. But he came the last week.
That's
He
true.
came all the way here
Yeah.
and he showed up like a little no cansado, like Oh, okay, I'm
It's an
here.
hour plus every time.
And then
It's
we-
usually worth it, though.
It
right?
is. But the thing is, he took the big hill up here. He didn't take the elevator up. So he was just tired from walking all the way out of 191st Street through the tunnel and then going up the big hill. So
Yeah, he was ready to turn around.
Yeah.
He was like,
He was ready to
fuck
give
this
up.
Like,
podcast. I'm
in the
getting
middle
outta
of that hill is where you start questioning everything.
Yeah, you
It's like,
start
let's-
questioning life in the middle of that hill, bro.
You start
Like, I
questioning all
shouldn't-
your choices and
yes.
decisions.
It's like, why am I out of breath?
It's true, though. It's true.
And that other voice that you're hearing, the lovely voice that we got on deck today, is a guest that I've been trying to have on since we crossed paths, 3 months ago?
Yeah.
And because of the rigors of life, things don't always pan out. But today on our season finale, we have you, which makes it all the much more impactful, because this is the moment that I've been waiting for, to close out strong, to bring up meaningful subjects and conversations that, you know, impact everyday lives. And so I'm really excited to have on deck Director of Communication Initiatives Impact for On Point, my brother Jason. Please tell me that I got the title right.
You got an A for effort, my brother. I appreciate the effort. You really tried. I saw you. I was looking at you.
He had
Yeah,
it.
he
You
was-
What is
It's
it?
Director of Community Initiatives and Impact.
Community,
bro.
Community Initiatives and
Forgot the
Impact.
fuck.
I think you got a little nervous there,
Yeah.
trying to get it all
It's all
out.
good. It's a mouthful. So.
No, you killed it. You
Like,
killed
it took me a
Almost.
minute to get that
Yeah.
down too, you know? I had to go in the mirror and like
I'm pretty
look
sure
at
when
myself.
people go
You are the
to go
director.
see you in your
Yes,
place, they be like,
mantra.
I just want to see the director.
I know, right?
Yes.
That is the
Who runs this
director.
The outreach guy. The outreach guy.
The outreach guy.
Yo, well, man, the thing is that, how big is your motherfucking card, bro? Or how small is the font?
I actually got a digital card, so it's like the QR code, and then all my info comes up.
El Diablo. So, Director of Community Initiatives and Impact.
Yes, sir.
My
Yes.
man.
Yes.
For
We
On
nailed it
Point.
there.
Let's go. Now I got it on deck.
It's official title.
Now, yeah, it's now right now.
Official title.
Thank you.
And we had to drop a bomb in there. Just
Drop
in
a
case.
bomb. Drop a bomb. It's only right.
And just for the listeners and the people that don't know what any of that means, would you like to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So, at On Point, I'm responsible for all of our outward-facing work. That means I run our outreach and public safety teams. That's a department, an entire group of staff that I have. We're standing at 24 right now. Basically, a bunch of harm reduction specialists, a couple of managers to run those crews. They're out in the community. They're doing syringe litter cleanup. They're distributing Narcan. They're engaging homeless people and to give them food or see, how can we help. Anyone who's, people who are observed using it in public, using drugs in public, they're trying to redirect them to our facility where they can use under the supervision of a trained professional. But aside from that, they're also dealing with community members, right? Just talking to people, engaging them, letting them know what it is that we do, what we don't do, and also just trying to bridge that gap. Like, there's a lot of people who struggle with addiction quietly, right? That's like a silent, there's a lot of people who don't talk about it because of the stigma that's attached to drug use. So my guys are out there like trying to, bridge the gap in that respect.
I will share this. The way we crossed paths was at a Washington Heights town hall meeting. And it was the conversation that day was surrounding the trash conditions, right? So it was about sanitation. And within that experience, what I did learn is outside of just the normal ideas of bureaucracy, which is to push the bucket around and not do shit and nothing get done, this only reaffirmed that suspicion and that belief because you had the parks department, right? So like people were like, yo, this is trash, and why isn't this trash picked up? And sanitation was like, well, that's not my department, it's parks department. And then parks department was like, well, actually the trash that you're referring to is something that you should be reaching out to NYPD. And then NYPD was like, no, actually you got to redirect that to New York City Health. And then once you get to New York City Health, how do you get to them? You do 311. And it becomes a whole
Point the
whole
fingers.
circle,
Point
yeah.
the fingers.
They
Point the fingers.
ping-ponging back and forth, yeah.
wild.
And that's not my first time experiencing that with them on that subject. Like, I know you want to
No.
do your thing,
No,
but
bro, no,
like
please
we
go,
try
brother.
to position ourselves as, first of all, we're just like a small nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
Like We just passed 100 staff. Like, we were smaller than that before. And this is a huge problem, right? Washington Heights is a huge community. Addiction is a much larger issue than any one organization, group, or individual, right? So we still try to position ourselves as the solution to this. While they're doing all that, several meetings, several different instances. De La Rosa had a walkthrough of the tunnel, of 168, of 191st, of 181st, and they're rehashing that same conversation. Oh, it's actually you. Oh, it's actually them. Oh, every quarter, once a month, blah blah blah. And we're like, yo, but we do it every day. We're here. We are here. We're the ones out here. Our guys, we're a little 4-person team, right? We're the ones out here. So why don't y'all just give us money to do this? And we can hire more people, and we can be more effective and cover more ground. And we did a whole proposal, and they was like, they looked at that, they was like, nah.
What was the budget number you threw at them? If you don't mind sharing.
Specifically, this was for a kiosk initiative in the subway system, which are syringe drop boxes.
Do those work?
Yeah, they do work.
They're effective.
It's not an overnight solution, right? Like, you gotta teach people, like, yo, use the box, right? Like, don't toss them in the tracks, don't toss them in the garbage. Like, use the box. And like, after a while, the message gets through. And
just to give our listeners a bit of a context to that bit of the conversation, because I want to make sure that everybody this is as transparent as possible, especially for people that may not be aware of what the problem is outside of New York.
Absolutely.
And so when Jason's referring to the kiosk is in the walkthroughs in the train stations, 168th, 181st, 191st, is because there's a lot of syringe litter, which means is the addiction is people are just tossing these syringes on the streets, and all these issues are coming about that now is raise the conversations of public safety, public awareness, and so one of the solutions that Jason and his team has been proposing is a kiosk, is a drop-off box where basically where people can use their syringes, and then rather than tossing them in regular garbage, it's a bio drop-off in that sense, right? So if that's a nice way of putting it.
Yes, great job.
And so one of the things, just so we can get context, I can give listeners context of how we crossed paths, was we're in a room in a setting of, I would say, a lot of white or old white people and a lot of old Dominican people. Just if you don't have an experience of how old Dominican people communicate, it's not always usually the most effective means.
Nah, not at all. A lot of yelling.
It's a lot of yelling, a lot of shoot first,
a lot of pointing the
There's
finger.
a big gap in communication skills.
So there's a very, very big void. And as I'm sitting there, I'm listening and I'm seeing the entire dynamic of the conversation, because it was a trash town hall meeting. Syringe litter was something that people were eager to really discuss and tackle. However, I learned that day that it does not fall under sanitation. It does not fall under in one of the city agencies. It doesn't. It doesn't, because they're not. It's not their job to go picking up biohazardous waste. It's New York City Health, and they're the ones supposed to go out there and do that. However, I believe then they subcontract you guys, like teams like you guys, to go out and do these efforts. More of the story being that you're in a room where it's a lot of shouting and screaming and like, I want to talk about this. And our congressman came in, Adriano Espaillat, and I will share that the brother's presence, because he showed up late, was...
How late?
Yo, I'm talking about like Dominican time late.
Yeah,
Like
more than an hour.
No,
More than an hour.
She started
late
at
to the
7,
town.
and nigga showed up like at a cool 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like,
But there's somebody speaking there while they
my
waiting
man,
for him? Or what is it?
No, at that
We all were
point,
at that
it was open to the public forum to
okay.
talk. Y el tigre vino y comenzó with the rah, rah, rah. And if I'm not, like, don't hold me verbatim, but the speech was something along the lines of, yo, and I'm tired of these streets being dirty, and I see the drug use, and I see all the problems, and that's it. No more. This is not happening in our neighborhood anymore. We're gonna put them in the hospitals. We're gonna give them trained professional help. Blah blah blah, and like going the fuck off, and in essence antagonizing people who run programs such as yourself. Now, after that, because I heard you speak to one of Carmen de la Rosa, Councilwoman Carmen de la Rosa's assistants, and I wanted to join in on the conversation, listen, because I didn't pinpoint. I just wanted to listen, and you taught me a lot that evening in regards to humanizing the approach, and because the way my socio-psychological approach with people who need help has in our community and communities of colors have always been dismissive, always tossed them to the side. And then my whole theory of how these people are being weaponized to scare us, like then that's my whole shit, right? Yes. And then how they've been utilized and placed and all this kind of stuff. However, my everyday to day conversations with people on a casual level prior to meeting you was, I'm tired of these motherfucking junkies. That, like verbatim, you know what I'm saying? This is the way I was talking in full transparency. But after our conversation, I was like, damn, man, you know what? I shouldn't be dismissive of our brothers and sisters that do need help. And am I qualified to help a motherfucker? No. But by no means. But I cross paths with them quite often and quite frequently, where outside of just humanizing them, it's, I've had conversations with them. I've seen brothers pass out. I've seen brothers on the verge of death, and they use the Noxcam?
Naloxone or Narcan.
Yeah.
And my mans are being brought to life and all that kind of stuff. And so, for me, the easy solution is like, yo, I just don't want this shit in my hood because I know the issues that are happening. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what, man? If we don't make the shift to help, then who the fuck will, right? Because then they will just keep getting tossed aside. And so, which now that roundabout story is what leads us to having this conversation today, because within the 5 minutes we spoke, I felt you gave me a lifetime worth of education and awareness. And I just wanted not only our listeners, but any potential future listeners to be aware of how we can maybe bridge that gap and communicate those issues, because the entire world the entire country has this fucking problem. It's an epidemic. However, in our great state of New York, there's only two parts that have these helps, which is Harlem and Washington Heights. I mean, I'm only gonna tie a lot of shit together regarding developers, and I'm just gonna say them niggas been like buying a lot of property on the cheap, and I don't know too many white developers that are known to buy shit on the cheap when they know shit's gonna get worse. They usually buy it when shit's about to get better. I'm just saying. But I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying I'm putting the numbers together.
That's definitely happening, especially with the development of the what is it, the Second Avenue subway?
Yes.
That's really happening.
That.
Fuck. I forgot about that. Murder.
So right now they pretty much at 96th Street, right? I don't know exactly where it stands, but I think it's at around that area. And I was at another town hall in Harlem, and they were talking about that. They were like, yo, if people come and they're trying to buy you out of your shit, make sure that you're getting the right amount of money, because everything 96 and below, they were getting paid $250,000, more than 100,000, this and that. And then all of a sudden, once they pass 96, they talking about here's 50K, here's 80K and a year's worth of rent. Like, you know?
This is savage, man.
So like, it was like, bring that awareness. Like, it's going to be construction. If you do want to leave, get paid. Like, don't take those low ball.
Right.
Yeah.
offers.
I don't know.
Make them hustle.
It's wild, man. How did you get into this? So mind if I ask you your origin story? How did you get into this origin story?
I love it.
Nigga, you're like a superhero, bro.
Absolutely. I love a good origin story.
Your origin.
So it's funny because, like, I all right. Back in the day, I thought I used to want to be a cop, right? Sheesh. Can't believe I said that out loud.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was going through that process, and like I got arrested during that. So I was like, man, fuck these fools. Like, never again, right? So then I was like, how can I still, because I wanted to help, right? I was like, yo, I could be a good cop. I could be a community policing, all that bullshit. So then I'm like, how can I still help my community? Like, you know, I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up during the crack era. I saw how drugs impacted my community. I saw, you know, how HIV impacted my community. So I ended up like doing, you know, like entry-level social work and things like that, like patient navigation. So I entered the field through doing HIV work. So I've been doing HIV work since 2011. I was doing work in the Bronx with people who had co-occurring conditions, chronic illnesses, helping them navigate the system and things like that, right? So again, right, and why does that even exist? Because I was working with people who are marginalized, and you know, by default, by the system that we live in, you know, they're suffering. So helping them figure out those things, trying to get people stable on their medication and things like that. The place that I worked for, because of the journey that HIV has been through, right, AIDS, at this point, this is like, let's call it 2015. Funding for the HIV work is drying up now because now HIV is under control, right?
Yeah.
People are undetectable. You can have sex and not spread it.
I think you could just pop a pill every morning.
Yeah. Like, yo, look at Magic, bro. It's real.
Right. And that's like the 90s.
Yeah,
I mean, at least people aren't dying.
He's had that his whole life, and he's like undetectable. He's spreading
Like,
it.
if a chick were to tell me she smashed a dude that had it, but it's undetectable, I'm like,
undetectable means that it
That's
can't be
very high
passed
risk.
off, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
so it is still high risk, right?
It's still.
No, just the behavior is high risk. It's like, you're taking chances.
Wear your condom.
Fuck with these bitches,
Right, but science will say that, you know, you should be fine.
Fuck that. That's when I trust science.
Oh my God.
that sounds more like profit to me. Nah.
So the place that I was working, funding is drying up across the board for organizations and nonprofits that are doing HIV, because it's like, yo, this is kind of like looking down the scope. You can see that, you know, we got a handle on this. So my group and several other organizations decided to start merging to kind of like stay true to their missions, right? So my organization that was working with strictly HIV and AIDS positive people merged with a harm reduction organization in the Bronx, and that's how I learned about harm reduction and syringe exchange and all that. Fast forward, like I left that organization. I did outreach for a community healthcare network, and then I was like, this shit is like too clinical. It's like, it wasn't like, it was good work because, you know, I ran a big team and we were out there and we were doing outreach and trying to get people enrolled into our program and blah, 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 and care. And it was great. It was fine. But still, it felt like this is too clinical. It's too like, you know, it's not what I really want. So while it was a positive experience, I learned how to, you know, I learned a lot of skills that I needed to be a better leader and be more organized and shit like that. I came back to this side and I was like, yo, I want to get back into that. So I reached out to a contact at what was once Corner Project.
Gotcha.
Someone that I worked at Boom Health with, and he put me on. So I came in as a manager. I came back doing the HIV work, right? So I was overseeing the care coordination department for the organization, Corner Project, which is now On Point. We were homeless at that time because of some shit that de Blasio did. So we were working on the RVs. I remember
the trucks coming up and down. They would post up right here on the 181st.
So we've been. I mean, the organization has been in the Heights for a long time. I think 2006, right? But the syringe litter and the organization were linked together once we became homeless, because it was like, yo, what's up with these vans popped up out of nowhere?
Now it got attention.
And now there's syringes everywhere, and these are the motherfuckers, right? And it was just like, yo, time out. We've been here like 10 years. Like, chill. Like, it was just like de Blasio announced that they were gonna launch the overdose prevention center. He didn't tell nobody, so we ended up being homeless as an organization. We had to pivot. That put a serious cap on everything that we could do, right? People were just coming, grabbing syringes, going to the park, going to wherever, as opposed to before where they were coming to our facility and they were just staying there, right? So then that put us in the public spotlight. You know, we were homeless for a couple of years. We visited over 60 locations in the Heights trying to find a spot. Wow. Eventually we landed where we are now, which is on 180th in Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty wild. Like, you're right across the street from a new development. Like an entire whole building.
We were there first.
Yeah.
We was there first.
Don't get that shit to it.
And they had a Trump flag on that.
Don't get that shit to it.
They had a Trump flag there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I mean,
During
I'm
the
not
elections,
surprised.
yes. I just want to put that out there.
They letting you know what's up.
But we were there first. Literally, we moved in that spot, and then construction started a couple of months later.
Y'all moved in over here, bro. So Word up.
It's because where you at now used to be a hardware store, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And they had so much fucking mierda on the windows.
Dusty ass.
Dusty ass windows.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Is that shit even open? But now they got like a big ass spot. But that's besides the point. It's but yeah, now I walked past your new location the other day, and I was like, oh shit, you're there. Like, wow, you're right here. Because I got so used to seeing the vans and all that kind of stuff. But so now people are able to stay at the place to, I guess, be supervised while.
Yeah. So it's a lot more than even that. It's that the Overdose Prevention Center is one program that we have. So we have a variety. Right now, it's the newest thing. So I'll go into that, but I really want to talk about what makes us special is the other shit that's going on in the building. So the OPC, and this is a kind of like it's an official. It's a how can I say? It was a program that we were running for a couple of years already, right? An unsanctioned consumption program, basically. What happened was with syringe exchange programs, the Department of Health was like the landscape. What it looked like was people were overdosing in Burger King when they were first in the bathroom, right? McDonald's, pizza stores, whatever, train station, parks, right? They're overdosing everywhere. So as a syringe exchange program, DOH was like, yo, y'all got to be prepared for an overdose in your bathroom because look what's happening across the city. So
logistics.
So we're like, okay, so for us it was like, we can't deny a bathroom service to our program participants, so let's check on them every 3 to 5 minutes, right? Lo and behold, people were consuming in our bathroom, so we're like, all right. So now we gotta really assign someone to do this, right? And this is how it was born. From the 3 to 5 minutes, it was like, okay, an overdose happened. We had to kick that fucking door in. Now it's like, let's remove the locks off the bathrooms. We saved that person, right? We've never lost anyone, but knock on wood. But that's how the protocol was born, right? Gotcha. So it's like check every unsanctioned program, check every 3 to 5 minutes, 15-minute time limit, in and out. When DOH, circled the nonprofits that were all SSPs, syringe service providers, or SEPs, syringe exchange programs, they saw how we were running our shit, and they were like, yo, you guys literally have the infrastructure and a lot of the protocol and the training to take the what would be the organic next step, which is to basically make this an official program, right? Build it out into a consumption room.
You wrote the manual for them,
right? Basically. So you build it out into a room and then you're minimizing even the observation time. So it's like now you can see the moment when a person begins to overdose, and we're no longer reversing the overdose. We're intervening, or we're preventing it from happening. So that allows us to use a microdose amount of Narcan, naloxone, which is 1/10, and it allows us to use intramuscular as well, as opposed to that nasal spray.
The nasal,
That nasal spray is good if you come across someone in a park or in a behind the locked door, and you don't know how long they've been out for. You can use that because that's a full dose nasal.
That's what I've seen. And the dude that saved the homie was like, yo, my man, nah, he's alright. And I'm like, yo, my man was about to die, bro. And he's like, nah, he's alright. He's just gonna be shitting for like a week. Like, goddamn,
because it sends you. They used to. It sends you into withdrawal right away for 90 minutes. The microdose is 30 minutes observation tops, like depending on how many you give, but it's 1/10 of the dose, a milligram basically. So the program, right? So we were able to expand that through a De Blasio initiative and whatnot. To date, we've had over 650 overdose interventions.
Wow.
We have over 2,000 unique users for the program, and over 50,000 utilizations. You know what I mean?
That's a big
number. Between both locations. So it's impactful. You still see drug use in the community, and syringe litter in the community, but it's a byproduct. It shows that there's still a lot more work to do, that we still need support, right? Just because we exist, like, doesn't mean that, and it's not an overnight fix either, right? Like, patient care, patient choices is a thing too. And again, these are the people that we're working with are people that have been deeply marginalized and deeply stigmatized and hurt by a lot of people, and that they love, and systems that are supposed to be providing them with care, right? So for us, a lot of those folks, it's the last stop. So for us to rehumanize that experience, right? Address people by their name, destigmatize their drug use, like come in and use in our program so we can help you, right? And that comes with a whole subset of issues, even the drug use itself, right? Their poor techniques and practices that they use. Some people don't know how to find the vein. So like we're teaching them how to do it so that they can do it safely, right? Instead of like you paniqueado in the alley or in the park and you like that and it's cold and you nervous and you're looking for the boys and that's your last $10 that you hustled the whole day for. And it's like, nah, we're eliminating all of that. Come use here, like use clean supplies so they're not spreading HIV and Hep C to each other and whatever else. And then whenever they're ready, if and when they are, we there to refer them to detox or to get them into a church bed so they don't sleep in the subway or in the park or in your rooftop, right, or in your basement. Like there's like, it's a dynamic that is crazy, honestly. I never worked for an organization like On Point, honestly. It's just, it's different.
I'm listening to you, man, and it's tough. Like it's because it's like, how do you do, like, before I ask you what I'm about to ask you, how are you, like, how taking in all that energy, how does that affect you as a everyday day-to-day person? Like, you good? Like, it's a lot of truth, man. Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot of energy.
It's a lot.
How do you take care of yourself?
Shit, I smoke mad weed.
My man. In the facility?
I mean, you in the OPC, you can smoke in there, for sure. But now, like,
we all need forms of therapy, man.
I mean, my director team, I really lean on them a lot, for support, and we talk to each other and we debrief and we try to decompress. We also have a holistics program that I take full advantage of at least once a week. That program exists in both of our locations in Harlem and in Washington Heights. So they offer acupressure, acupuncture, Reiki, massage, sound therapy, right? So a whole bevy of those type of services, a chiropractor. So Thursday is Staff Appreciation Day. I'm in that shit. But I had to work myself to that because I was just like, going, especially as I transitioned into this role. I would just be going like, I gotta get like all this shit done. I got like all this staff. I have, all this community engagement that I gotta do in both communities, right? This shit is crazy. The whole is wild. And so like staff appreciation, the manager would come up and be like, yo, come get something. I'll be like, yo, let me just send this email, and then I would never make it, right? and then the next week he would come and be like, yo, you didn't fucking come last time, come. And I'd be like, all right, but I'm about to jump into a meeting, this Zoom, or I gotta go down, or the radio goes off. I'm like, yo. So then one day he came and he was like, yo, stop playing, come downstairs. And I was like, and I was feeling it. I was like, yo. I was like, you're right. So and ever since that day, and that was like a couple of months ago, I've been working it into my routine. Because that day I went down and I got chiropractor.
Oh, shit.
And then acupressure. And I was floating for the rest of the day. I was just like, yo, I do need this shit.
You had a lot of stress.
Like my back, like, and it's not like a deep tissue massage, but it's a nice, like, medium touch, and like you feel better after that. You get to zen out for 30 minutes.
Hell yeah.
And then just I check out on the weekends. Like if I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. I try to like throw myself into whatever it is, the next whatever's in front of me.
And I must say, to keep it all the way honest, because I'm in recovery myself, and I just came out from doing a year and a half in the rehab for alcohol and pills. And when I was in the rehab, I was against harm reduction because I didn't really know what was harm reduction. I'm all right, it's a spot that people go get high. What the fuck? That's why they got rehab. But what I learned in my experiences being in rehab for that long, and the people that I met in rehab, and the stories, the circumstances they came from, addiction is serious. You know what I'm saying? And you can't just drop people off in rehab and expect them to be like, yo, stop, come back out, and
Great, you
know
good?
what I'm saying? You good? Yeah, you're good. And it don't work like that.
Yeah, with no discharge
It
plan, no
don't-
follow-up
You know what I'm
plan.
saying? It
That's
don't
why-
work.
that's
Yeah,
why-
yeah,
that's
it
why
don't work
people
like that.
relapse.
And you know, for people to really take control of their addiction or come to a recovery status, it depends on the circumstances. It depends how bad they want it. It depends, it depends on a lot of shit. You know
It's
what
very
I'm saying?
multifactorial.
Yeah, it depends on a lot of shit. And then the more I started learning about harm reduction, I was like, that is very needed. That is
Because
very needed.
The optics of how, and then I think this is what I would like our listeners to take away from this exchange, because this is what I took away from our exchange in the very, very beginning. The optics of the harm reduction programs are, in full transparency, niggas thought it was just a crack house.
Yeah,
right?
that's the problem.
Absolutely.
That was the problem.
Like, these are the optics. Y'all just getting motherfuckers in there to do all the drugs, and in essence, a fucking crack house, right? And it's like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, yes, you're right, it doesn't. Like, why would anyone go full blown voluntary crack house? Fuck.
So
They're giving you the tools to use? That's what I was thinking.
We're gonna give them drugs, and we're gonna give them pipes, and we're gonna give them. And so, the optics. Sleepy Joe is giving them nothing but syringes and crack pipes and da da da. You know what I'm saying? No, and so I was like.
Yeah.
I naturally I'm like, nah, this doesn't add up. Like, it doesn't make sense. So when you shared with me, no, it's way more.
It's way more.
Yeah.
It's
And
way
I was
more.
like, okay, and it's basically a pathway to make to allow people a safe space to get them off of the street, number one. So the idea is and then enroll them into becoming a participant in a program that could potentially lead them into a pathway of recovery and humanization and reintegration in that sense. But the reality is this: people have gone through a lot, and they resort to whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's heroin. I'm assuming it's all hardcore drugs, right? Like, and in order to get to that level, I think a lot of shit has to fall into place of that. I don't know a lot of people that just say, hey, today I'm just gonna do heroin. I don't know, but I might be wrong. And so introducing this space, hearing you share today and right now, I know it's a lot of trial and error because, there's a lot of motherfucking variables. And something as what one deems simple as, hey, go use the bathroom for like whatever everyday purposes, but then a motherfucker might die in there, and you got to plan now. Better, we got to knock and check, not because we don't want you to use the bathroom, but because we don't want you to die.
Right.
We got to remove a lock, and and it's like, wow, man. So it gives me a deeper understanding and understanding because it's on the table, overstanding because I got to see, and it gives me a better overstanding of the situation, and it allows me to see that there's also an outline, a plan to how to get to a rehab level, because I wasn't aware that you had a disdain for harm reduction at one point.
Because I didn't really know about it like that. I thought exactly what you thought. It was a fucking crack house, and people just go in
People think
and
it's
I see
enabling.
the levels to it. Until I started working in the field, I was like, oh, okay, now I get what they doing over there.
Right, you're
You know
meeting
what I'm
them
saying?
where they're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was like, not only that you going in there just to use, but you got staff like yourself that is trying to point them to the right direction. Because people that are using, they don't know when they're trying to they're just trying to get high at the moment, and they close themselves off to the world because the world closed them off. You know what I'm saying? But when you have people talking to them normal, like I do at my job and my partner does, shout out to brother Ja, that is my partner. They just want to be talked to like a normal human being, bro. You know what I'm saying? They want to see that people do care because they've been shunned all this time.
100%.
And it's just sad, man. It's just sad.
When I saw the brother almost die in front of me, and I went and checked on them again later, one of the things that stuck with me that he shared with that the guy that helped him that he shared with me was, hey man, I thank you for not just recording us and then leaving. And I was like, God damn it.
Exactly.
Like, wait.
Yeah, you
That's
see,
what
they
usually
got
happens.
feelings, you
That's
know?
what usually happens.
And I'm like, wait. He goes, yeah, man, you know, motherfuckers just record us and then leave. No, you actually offered to call 911. That was so, and I was like, oh, I was like,
Human decency.
thank you. I didn't know what to say back. I was like, I thought you just needed help, bro. But yeah.
And at the end of the day, y'all saving mad lives because fentanyl's rampant right now. Fentanyl is fucking rampant. Do you have the machine, by the way, that they could test? Is like a computer machine that you could test it?
Mass spectrometer.
Yeah, that you could put the drugs in the machine.
Yeah,
It'll
so
tell you if it's got fentanyl. That
It's
shit's
not.
crazy.
We have it. It's not ours, but we have it.
Okay.
So look what was happening, and I'll tell you why we have it. July, we get a call from the 2-5, like, yo, Marcus Garvey is crazy, and I'm like, we're like, what? Yeah, we know, like, we in there all the time. They're like, nah, but there's fatal overdoses happening overnight.
Damn.
So I'm like, we're like, fuck. All right. Right away, we launched my team, 6 a.m., a 6 a.m. crew I put together, 3 guys right away. Right now, it's at 5. Immediately, they start intervening in overdoses at 6 in the morning in Marcus Garvey. They found out that there was a huge, like, 30-person encampment. Yo. Wow. And no, by 9 a.m., by the time we were previously getting out, 9 a.m., no signs of that encampment. We're like, what you mean there's an encampment? Like, nah, we're in there every day. Yeah, lo and behold, there was, right? So we're like, what's up with these overdoses, right? Day 2, my man sees somebody in the corner smoking crack, right? My man went into a fentanyl overdose. Like he went down and clenched up off of crack.
Damn.
That's not something you never see that ever.
And crack,
like,
yeah, exactly.
And you know, people who smoke crack, they've been smoking crack forever.
Yeah.
Like they be smoking for a
Yeah,
long time.
They
right?
running around crazy.
So
yeah.
like, imagine you somebody who's doing that, and then you just hit your glass, and then you go down like that. Luckily, my staff was there to see that, and they knew. They were like, "Yo, he's clenched up. That shit got Fetty in it." So they hit him with a Narcan, whatever, and they brought him back. We collected that the sample from the bag that he used. We called DOH because we have a lot of city Department of Health contracts, and they sent somebody over to test the supplies, right? So, and of course from the OPC, we can collect samples too, because people come with pre-obtained substances, and you know, if whoever experienced overdose will be like, all right, I'm gonna just grab this bag, I'm gonna put it in the kit, and then we'll get it tested.
OPC, what is that an acronym?
Overdose Prevention Center. That's the consumption rooms.
Got it. Just so I can get all the acronyms down.
Yeah. And stop me if I, because there's a lot of acronyms. I'll be like, sorry about that.
You need an acronym for your title.
Oh, trust me, I have one. It's DCII.
Director.
DCII. Director Community Impact.
Initiatives
and impact. Yeah. So, like, when I'm writing my reports and shit, I be like, I ain't writing all them words.
And when you said the 2-5, that's the precinct.
Yeah, the 25th precinct.
And the Marcus Garvey's obviously the park.
And in Harlem, right?
Yeah.
So, as a result of that,
so the precinct calls you to tell you, yo, there's
overdoses happening in the park.
Wow.
So we respond. We gather that. This particular sample came back 20% fentanyl on a crack.
Damn.
On crack.
Wow. A crack on a
crack bag. Yeah,
that's wild.
So then we've been tested since August.
What's the metric? How, like, if people can people intake fentanyl? My bad. My awareness with this is very non-existent actually, and very limited. But when it comes to fentanyl, because what is fentanyl to begin with? Like, what is it?
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's some shit that
like
motherfuckers
1,000 times
stronger than
heroin.
That was originally used for medicinal purposes.
Yeah. It was like what was it? Not a painkiller. What was it?
A
painkiller, right? Yeah, it was a painkiller.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people would take fentanyl via hospitals for painkiller.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
so like through drip, like an IV, a fentanyl drip, like that, like a very small dose. You know what I'm saying?
Just pure fentanyl.
Yeah. But it's prescribed and regulated.
By
so
low
it's
doses.
It's not the
like that.
bullshit that's in the street.
Yeah.
Got it. And so motherfuckers to get you at a higher level of pain reduction, like when people take fentanyl, it's to like
so on the street level.
Yeah, on the street level.
So people weren't really taking fentanyl on purpose. Like these are most of the fentanyl users are people who were heroin users, and because the street heroin supply has been slowly contaminated with fentanyl across the United States, across the board.
So they're just lacing that shit with
It's all
It's a big problem,
So
huh?
now there's not. We be testing the heroin for heroin because it be mostly fentanyl.
Wow.
So to find fentanyl and crack is different. That like it's just like a whole different.
So
beast.
now they put it in that shit.
So
and
like
everything.
little by little, all the heroin users in New York, or even across the country, have succumbed to fentanyl just because it's in the supply.
Yeah.
It's not. It hasn't
Not even
really
by
been
choice.
maybe there are instances that it happened by choice where people are like, yo, I want some that other shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like mostly it's been like, yo, by default. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
So that's why it looks like the human condition, the deterioration is worse because it's a different drug and it's by default. It's not even on purpose. So, yeah.
So that's all right. So okay. So you go to the park. It's 6 a.m. You see the 30-person encampment. What is the first thing you say to these brothers? Like how do you approach them? How does that work? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. Like,
now the approach has to be compassionate. You feel me? Like I said, they're the way they've been treated historically. And of course, like, visible branding, you got to identify yourself as, make sure people know you're not police or that you're not there to hurt nobody,
No
right?
surprises.
So people are like, our people are in survival mode, right? Every day. Like, so we come with food, we come with clothing, we come with clean supplies for them. Those first 2 days, it's like 6 a.m. Where why are we gonna wake them up?
Yeah,
There's there's nowhere to send them to.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So
Come on, man, get up.
It's like, yo, bro, wake up.
me up for, the fuck wrong with you?
Finally was
You gotta
able
go
to
get the fuck out.
fall asleep.
Yeah, it's like I was asleep. I just fell asleep.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
imagine.
So they come back and they're like, yo, boss, like, what are we gonna do about that? So I go to my boss and I'm like, yo, what are we gonna do about that? That's a good point. So then they put together a team, 6 a.m. team right away to open the Overdose Prevention Center and the Drop-In Center. And they've been rocking since August with that in Harlem. And I've been really, really trying my best to bring that to the Heights as well, but we haven't, like, the staffing in the Heights is different because we're open on weekends and there's just like, people got kids and families and stuff like that, so they can't change what their commitment is. But we're working on that still, and it's been one of the challenges. But on the other tail end of that is that I have been able to have my team go out in the Heights at 6 a.m. as well, just as a service touch point, clean up the schools earlier, touch down on the subways earlier as well, because again, my Heights team is small too, so they need that. That 6 to 8:30 to touch down with the schools and the subways before that rush hour, right? So MTA, they ping ponging that back and forth. They're not gonna do it. So we're the ones we're gonna take the onus. But it would be great to get some donations or funding. Funding is
where do you guys get funding? Number one, where do you take donations at so I can put it on the?
So our website onpointnyc.org, where has an active donation link. That those donations will go directly to the operations of the Overdose Prevention Center. Right now, they're not federally legal, so they can't be run through any of the city or state dollars that we have. So that's all like private foundations and private donations and like fundraising that we do.
So right now, currently, all of your funding is
for that OPC program.
Got it.
Oh wow.
Is private.
For here in this branch?
For both
Harlem and here.
Interesting.
Wow.
And then the rest of the programming, which is like my outreach and public safety, the syringe exchange, the programming that happens in the drop-in center, right? We offer 3 meals a day. We have a shower program, we have a laundry program. We have a case management department that is doing benefit navigation, housing, like referrals for housing support, referrals for mental health care. We also have a clinic and the holistic program. So our clinic is actually a Montefiore satellite clinic, but they do Medicaid assisted treatment, referrals, bupe inductions, which is Suboxone, which is another medication.
Yeah.
They're doing wound care, COVID vaccines, Hep A, Hep B vaccines as well, flu shots, right? And basically just in general repairing that relationship between the patient and the provider as far as the general healthcare system. So our clinic staff do a great job at referring our folks to other providers that understand what harm reduction is and implement it into their work. And all of those programs that I just talked about, those are funded with city and state dollars.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I do outreach for work too. Me and my partner do outreach for work. Shout out to Lower East Side Services. That's where I work at, DRS. And I gotta say, bro, it's not an easy task.
I think I spoke to someone in Lower East Side Services about building out their outreach team for Syringe litter cleanup.
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
I can't remember their name, but it was a woman.
Okay, because we got the inpatient, we got an outpatient. I work for the outpatient part. Yeah, so we'll chop it up after this, and we get each other's information. But outreach is not an easy task.
Not at all.
I do it once a week. We do it Mondays, me and my partner, and we hit a lot of spots. But Washington Square Park is like one of our main spots. Yeah. I did not know Washington Square Park was that bad.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, it was that bad. And we used to just go like, hey, with our badges. Hey, my name is Andre.
You got a badge?
Brother Job. Yeah, like work badge.
Like a job badge. That plastic shit.
Not like a badge.
It's on a lanyard.
They already
trust
thinking
me.
with cops. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
where y'all rolling up.
Rolling up
like a whole DT.
Like, hey, how you doing? So we got to be switching up our style because we got to bring now we used to bring water bottles and shit like that because. They using drugs. They paranoid at the time. They see these two dudes like, who the fuck is this? Right. And once you start talking to them, breaking it down, what you do is a little easier. But the approach it's hard. It's not easy to do outreach like that.
I am trying to gather my wits regarding the psychological approach behind it.
It is not easy. Yeah.
And the language matters a lot.
And the language matters a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Because, rolling up, even if you want to talk to someone on a casual level, like, yo, what's up? And be like, yo, what's up?
Yeah. Like what I do.
They just hit the glass.
What the fuck is it you, bro? Relax. I'm here to help, motherfucker. Like what I do is as a peer advocate, I just go up to them and tell them right away, hey, I used to use drugs too, bro. I'm just, I know what's going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, we here, motherfucker. We here. So so like I try to take my story as quick as possible after I say my name, so they know that I know what's going on, bro. So it's tough. It's tough.
It's the reason I think about it because in the very beginning, when this park opened over here, right? It's $30 million park that they just casually dropped that, and then out of nowhere, it was like flooded, infested with heroin users, and I would be tight, man. Be like, man, I can't be doing this shit here, and whatever. But I'll be like, yo, guys, y'all mind taking us somewhere else? And I'll be like, where the fuck you want us to go? I'm like, good point.
But now you could be like, go to fucking On Point.
Hell yeah.
No, that's real shit.
And then after that, I would walk around them and I'd be like, hey guys, stay safe. Have a good day, have a wonderful day. And I remember this one lady, man, she was fucking deteriorating right in front of me. She was fucked up in the game. She was like laid out on the stairs. And I'm like, stay safe, baby girl, And she's like, yeah, you too, have a nice day. And like, that raspy voice kicks in. And then and sometimes I'll be jogging early in the morning, and 7 a.m., that's when they like bouncing, if they sleeping in there and whatnot. And I was like, good morning, brothers, have a nice day. They were like, yeah, man, watch out. It's crazy out there. You don't know who be out there. You crazy. And I'm like, damn, man, you telling me to watch out for myself? Like, the world tells me to be scared of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming from the raccoons that are out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And be like, mira, pero ¿y para dónde tú vas?
A esta hora, right?
And so, throughout this journey of casually not accepting the circumstances, but trying to say how can we better and enrich our circumstances, because it's not something I tolerate. It's not something I'm promoting or advocating. However, I'm fully aware of the challenges and the reasons why people might resort or go through these situations, right? And so I sympathize, I empathize for all of it. And I think, what I would like for you to maybe gather for everyone else is, what verbiage should we be using to bridge that gap of awareness? Because I don't want people to think that you're running a crack house anymore. That's not the optics.
Right.
It shouldn't be that way, because what you're saying has a lot of words, needs all the acronyms and all that shit. But how can we go about communicating to the general public that what you're doing is not only needed, but it helps, like it legit helps.
Absolutely.
And transitions people from being on the street to potentially going into a roadmap of reintegration into fucking regular life. Like, I don't think that using heroin is regular. Like, I don't know, but like, what's the wildest story you got from, like, what's the wildest shit you've seen, just out of curiosity? I'm sure every day is fucking wild.